Hey, what's going on, Pokemon fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Pokemon TFG figure reviews for Next Quest, and this time we're going to be taking a look at the uncommons of the set. And there's quite a few of them here, as you can see, and there's just enough for them to be a little too long for one part, but just too short for two parts of videos. So I decided I'm just going to cram them all together. We're going to pump through these guys really quick. You already know the drill if you've seen any of the other videos for this. So we're going to start right away with the first one. This is the first uncommon of the set. Obviously, as I've said in the other videos, to get the rares, uncommons, and commons of this set, you basically had to buy the random packs, and these would be the figures that could have been concealed. Some of them, as I'm going to say later, there are some exceptions to that, though, but basically, if you wanted to get some of these figures randomly, without just individually purchasing one from someone online nowadays, or getting one from a game shop, you basically needed to buy tons of those random packs and find the Pokemon you were looking for. So, with that out of the way, we're going to take a look at the first one here that I'm already spinning and playing with, Corsola, which is a really nice one. You got to take a look at the detailing in this one. I really enjoy it. It's got that angry little expression and a mean little Corsola. It's on a clear water base right there, so that is really nice touch. It's pretty detailed with the extra pieces of the coral coming off of it. Makes it a really interesting Pokemon. Never paid too much attention to Corsola until I've gotten this figure, and then I was like, wow, that really is a pretty cool Pokemon. You never really look at some of these single stages too much, especially from Johto too. I mean, it's been around for a while, so pretty cool Pokemon that doesn't really get too much attention nowadays. So that's pretty cool. Really awesome figure of it. I really enjoy that. Now, it has one movement point, so game-wise it is really slow. So it's basically on par with the Legendary, which means that its abilities should really be making up for it. So this one actually has a Pokepower, as you see by the yellow ring around here, and what that says is it has Coral Power. Corsola can't be burned, paralyzed, poisoned, or noxious. Alright, so it's kind of funny that they mention all of those things, because it is not possible to get burned in the game. Not even in, I don't even think any of the third set of the TFG could burn you. You could get paralyzed and poisoned in Next Quest. Noxious is also something we don't know what that means. Well, I don't know what it means. I've never come across anything that's ever said it will make you noxious. So, burned and noxious, whatever that means. Maybe they were just anticipating their other status ailments you could have, and basically saying Corsola cannot have a status ailment. But the thing is, there's other ones out there like weight, which is different. I can see how that would be different. They wouldn't want to put it on there. But there's also asleep, which shows up in the third set. So, that's a little weird that it doesn't say that Corsola cannot be asleep, but it could be could not be burned or noxious. A little weird. Anyway, so let's actually look at the actual attacks here. So, pretty decent size of Bubble Beam. If it hits you straight on, you get a 70 damage right there. As we see from the top, there are 2 equivalent tackles on either side for 30 apiece. That's a decent amount of damage for this thing. And then we have Harden back here, so 0 damage. If the defending Pokemon's attack does 60 damage or less, Corsola is not knocked out. So that is pretty cool. It's basically a dodge, unless the Pokemon can do more than 60 damage. So pretty interesting. This Corsola could be a wall trying to protect your base or something, but other than that, it's just okay. Really interesting. I really like it more for the figure. And granted, nobody really plays the game anymore, and if anyone is really interested in playing the game, hopefully just these videos are going to give you some sort of incentive to ever want to play them if you did want to start collecting these guys, because it is pretty cool. So I've grabbed the next one already, and this is Gollum. A really cool uncommon. I really wanted this one for a long time, and I got really excited because I actually got him randomly in one of the booster packs I got, so that is pretty sweet. I really love his pose. He's basically pulling a Feraligatr or a Groudon if you've seen the other ones, so that's kind of funny, and you can't really go wrong with that pose when you're busting out of the ground. Turning around like this, you can start seeing that that is all clear plastic back there. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera. You have to see it in real life. Really cool. They would go through so much effort on such little figures. These are just amazing. Kyoto just does an amazing job with these things. The indents go so deep into the Golem, it just creates awesome shadows. He really looks great, especially when lit up like this. Awesome, awesome figure. So, his attacks, he's also a 1 movement pointer, so really slow. He's got a lot of text on here, so we're going to do some reading. Let's see. Rock Explosion 60. Spin until you get a result other than Rock Explosion. This attack does 60 damage for each Rock Explosion. So it's one of those stacking abilities. That's pretty cool. That would do a ton of damage, especially with that much open space there. So kind of makes up for him being so slow. He's very powerful. Rock Wall 30. If the defending Pokemon's attack does 120 damage or less, Golem is not knocked out. Funny, because that's just like that Corsola we just saw, except this is basically a better version of it because it actually can knock out the other Pokemon, and 120 damage is really hard to do in this game. So that is pretty great. He has a very, very little bit of miss back here, and then a decent chunk, I want to say like 25% chance of hitting Rock Throw 40, which is his weak spot. If you can overpower that, which is possible, I mean, it's pretty easy to get over 40, but, you know, granted, that's basically how you want to kill him. So, really good figure for fighting is that Golem. Next one we've got here is a Mudkip. Now, this Mudkip is actually in pretty high demand. He's kind of hard to find nowadays. He's pretty expensive, too, I would say. I really love how shiny his paint is on him. He's sculpted really well. He's one of my favorite sculpts. I don't know why. It's just so simple. Maybe it's just how he's just got this little splash with his tail. He looks like he's just got so much movement into him. And I think that's what I really love about the TFG figures. They have so much movement for being so tiny, and just they're all done so well. So he's really an amazing little guy, and like I said, he's kind of harder to find, but there are some single packs where excuse me, where Mudkip is the only Pokemon you see in a clear container, and you can easily get him that way. The thing is, those are kind of hard to find nowadays, and they do cost a lot more than they used to, so that is a bummer. I got really, really lucky and found one seller that was selling these guys for $3 a piece instead of the usual, like, 12 to 15 or so, so that was really great. The downside, though, the seller, I guess, didn't package him quite right, and he came broken off of his stand, which fortunately was an easy fix, just a little bit of super glue, and he was back on there spinning just fine, so that is great. So, Mudkips may break if you get them like that. Attack-wise, he has 3 movement points, which is very quick, very hard to stop moving. He has a 50% chance of hitting Water Gun, which is 30 damage, so it's a decent little chunk of damage that a 3 movement pointer can do. He has Takedown over here, which can do 50 damage, so that's much better if you can land on the Takedown. Not much space there, it's basically right where he's trying to leap at you. And then we have Tackle, 10, so that's basically next to nothing. The only way it's going to take anyone out is if they miss, and then here is his miss area right in the back, where he would be hopping the other direction from you. So that is Mudkip. I'm going to set him back down back there. Next one we're going to take a look at is Pikachu. One of the main figures of the set. This is a really cool one. I've actually got a couple Pikachus. This one, unfortunately, I was so bummed, came in a random pack. I was so bummed about that because it's really easy to get this Pikachu. You get the Pikachu in the starter set, I believe it's Riptide, which is the one with Feraligatr. And so I was like, well, I already had a Pikachu from that initial lot I bought a couple years ago. And I was trying to fill in the gaps in my next quest collection, so I got some random packs, and a Pikachu was in there. I was like, oh no, it's such a bad deal, oh well. But anyway, he's got a really awesome pose for being just a simple little Pokemon again. They spent a lot of time making sure that this Pikachu looked really cool, and they certainly succeeded. He's got a lot of clear plastic for all of his electricity and his little jump back here. Really nice, really, really well made, really cool figure, especially when he's spinning. Looks like he's gathering electricity or something. So let's take a look at his attacks. Right in the front, if he can aim straight ahead, he's going to hit you with a 100 base power Thunderbolt, which is devastating, especially for a 2 movement pointer back here as we see. So they've really kind of overpowered Pikachu. He's really good. He has 2 decent miss sizes though. That's about as much miss as you're going to see out of like a legendary too. So that is pretty good, that it's not too bad, especially with having so much power and speed. To make up for being so good, he's got two pretty big size Thunder Shocks, which only do 40 damage. So you really want to land on this 100 up here at the front. The Thunder Shocks are really not going to do so much, and then of course he has a little bit of dodge in the back, which would be pretty handy if you're trying to run away from something. Next one we have here is a Raichu. Now this Raichu, there really is no super easy way to get it. This is another one that you're going to have to get in a random pack. This one fortunately was in my first initial grab lot buy that I had a couple years back, and really glad I got it because it's a really nice figure and I really don't see many of these anymore, so really cool that I grabbed a Raichu while I could. He's got this angry face pose while he's like jumping up in the air. The only thing that is actually holding him down is that foot, but if you look very carefully, I'm sorry, there is behind this tail, which is very easy to move. See that bump in the plastic? That's basically just extra base trying to hold him down, which is fine because there's a lot of figures that actually have extra base parts, and Raichu's obviously needs to hold him down a bit because for him to spin, that's just kind of crazy that he's even holding himself up in that pose. Really amazing figure. So, I really love how the Raichu looks. We're going to take a look at his attacks down here. Of course, I say of course because I've fought against a couple friends of mine while we were playing this game, and my girlfriend tends to always pick Raichu, and she kicks my butt with Raichu. I'm going to show you why. He has 2 movement points, so just like the Pikachu. He has this very large miss region, which is pretty much the only way to stop this Raichu because its one other attack is pretty devastating. It is Thunder Jolt. Not a real Pokemon move, but in this game it is. 50 damage. If Raichu is knocked out by damage, the defending Pokemon is paralyzed. It's just so... like, the 50 is like just enough damage to take out most Pokemon, and just in case it doesn't, it'll paralyze and cripple the really strong Pokemon that did take it out. It's so efficient. It's very good. So the ring around it, as you can see, it also has a Poke Power, which says grounding. Raichu cannot be paralyzed. So this guy is a real troublemaker, in the game. So he's a pretty good choice if you're going to try playing the game yourself. Next one we got back here, as you can see, is a pretty tall, pretty awesome one. Yes, it is a Scyther. Take a look at this. What an amazing one. Spins really cool. I love how the whirlwind down here looks like he's whipping up a storm or something as he's spinning. Really cool. He's got clear plastic in his wings, which is really nice touch. The figure itself is sculpted really well. I like how he's actually sculpted intentionally to spin. It's just so much effort they put into these things. It's just amazing. Plus, when he's standing up, he's got his sides out. He just looks awesome. This is one of the first figures I think we're looking at where I actually got it from the UK. So this is not an American one. And the difference is it did not come with the spinner. I applied the spinner to it. And I can kind of tell myself because the white printing for the white attacks kind of yellowed over time, I guess wherever these were stored for the UK. Another way you can tell is that it actually has its rarity under it. So this one will say uncommon, whereas an American one, so let me grab Raichu, will not say that. Actually, Raichu's base is a little scratched up. It'll just say the number. So that's one way to check if yours are from the UK European releases or from the American ones. There's other releases, and I'm not quite sure if there's any other trick ways to tell where they're from or not, but anyway, that is Scyther right there. We're going to take a look at his attacks. He's a 2 movement pointer, so pretty decent speed. He's got this very large region here for slash, 50, as I just said. 50 is, I kind of want to say, is like that good region of a safe move to use. False Swipe, 20. Yeah, if you guys know anything about the Pokemon game False Swipe, you never want to attack with False Swipe. It's just a really, really stupid idea. So, only 20 damage makes sense because it's a really weak move. Swords Dance. Spin until you get a result other than Swords Dance. If that result does damage, double it. So that is basically, it's almost half of his attack, and from that, obviously, you want to land on the larger slash, not the False Swipe. False Swipe, just going back, I mean, obviously, you want to use False Swipe to capture wild Pokemon. I didn't mean you don't ever want to use False Swipe, so anyway, that out of the way, just in case someone down in the comments would be like, False Swipe is the best move ever! Whatever. So anyway, obviously in this game, though, you want to land on the Swords Dance and probably hit a Slash, which is very likely for this Scyther to do. So that is pretty cool. Next figure we're going to take a look at is another one of the Hoenn starters, Torchic. Now, I had an extra Torchic at one point and traded it to a friend for a Nidoran figure, because I was missing the Nidoran. This Torchic is a really nice one. I like how the Torchic's actually really small, and then to take up the extra space, they used a lot of this clear plastic fire. It's really nice. I kind of wish that the Charizard actually had more of this clear fire. It's just really, really nice to see. It looks much better than some of the plastic that they have on some of the other figures that is not clear. Anything that just fades to clear like this just adds like a really awesome finishing touch, and the figures just really look great. So that's basically it for Torchic. You really can't even see much of the shadows and stuff in there, but there's a lot of depth to that fire. It looks really nice. He's also on a little bitty rock base, as we see in here. So, attack-wise, Torchic, I actually think is not a very good fighter, but we'll take a look at him anyway. He has 3 movement points. 50% of his attacks are 30 peck, which is kind of a weak, unsafe move to use. His strongest attack over here is Ember at 40, which is a little unsafe. It's not much better than the 30. And 25% chance of miss, which is really bad. The only thing Torchic has going for it is 3 movement points. So if you're going to use this Torchic, you're going to run. You're going to run, you're going to run, you're going to try and get to that goal and avoid battle at all costs. So, next figure we have to look at is a similar one, style fighting-wise, but I think it's a little bit better. We're going to take a look at Treecko here. Really cool. I actually just recently shiny hunted a Treecko, if you want to look at one of those videos. This is a really, really cool video. Figure. What was I talking about? I was going to say that I was mixing up my thoughts because I was going to say that this figure is actually in that video, in the background. But now we can take a much better look at it. So, this one's rock base is really amazing. The detail in it is just incredible. I really have nothing else to say other than just how amazing that rock base itself is, and then how they decided to pose the Treecko on it. It's just crazy. That is one of the, if not the, coolest Treecko figures I've ever seen. I'm really blown away by how they made this guy. The Treecko could be more easily obtained if you got the Flamethrower starter set, I believe he showed up in. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was a Flamethrower set. Which reminds me, I didn't mention there is an easier way to get the Torchic back here. You could actually get it in a standalone pack, just like the Mudkip. So one of the clear ones, you would be able to see that it is Torchic. For some reason, the Mudkip is much more valuable than the Torchic, I think. The Torchic is still up there. I haven't seen many go recently, so I'm not quite sure. Treecko, however, is much more common because he is in the Flamethrower set. So pretty easy one to find, which is good because he's a really nice looking figure. And tactic-wise, I actually think he's one of the best of the Hoenn starters. Mudkip might be a little bit better, I'm not sure, but anyway. Attack-wise, he's got 3 movement points, just like the others. Quite a lot of dodge, which is really great. Looks like it's 25% of it. Really tiny area here. It's a decent chunk of pound, 20 damage. And much more often, he's going to be using Slam, which is 30. So, pretty weak, but the thing is, instead of having miss for his region down here, he's having dodge. So that is why I was saying generally Treecko is a little bit better than using the Torchic, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to put him back here. We'll take a look at the next one, which is Voltorb. Move everybody in a bit. Voltorb. This one is a really cool one. I actually don't see many Voltorbs. He's a little dusty. There we go. Clean him up a bit. So, the Voltorb, as I was saying, I don't see very often, and that's kind of a shame. He's a little bit more rare. Just because the figure is uncommon doesn't mean that they're all generally that rare, I guess, because it all depends on where they come from. As I said, some of these you can get easier than others. Some of them have to come from the random packs. Voltorb is one of them that has to come from the random packs. So he is a little bit more expensive, harder to find, so he's somewhere generally around like 12 to 15, kind of like Gollum and Scyther back there. I actually got really lucky and found this guy at a game shop. They were selling a couple old TFG figures. a couple other ones I actually got with him were Groundbreakers, it turned out, so that was really exciting to find. And the Voltorb, it turned out, was kind of a really hard to find figure anyway. Got each one for $3 each, so I was really excited. So, anyway, pretty cool figure if you couldn't see already. That is clear plastic electric zap going on back there, so that's really nice. Really cool, especially when he spins. It kind of, like, I guess, shocks in a wave around him. So let's read what he can do. Oh, I just checked down and I remember I have used him before, and it's kind of fun. You basically used him as a walking bomb. The purple here says, Explosion. Voltorb and all surrounding Pokemon are knocked out. So, he's basically just a really intimidating 3-movement pointer, very quick Pokemon that you want to just send in just to mess with your opponent and see if you can get lucky and take out their really powerful legendary Pokemon, or whatever their, like a single movement pointer, their powerhouse. Just with a 3-movement pointer, you can quickly just throw them on in there and just cause some havoc. Unfortunately, the rest of his attacks all the way around are pretty much worthless. He's got this Miss over here, which obviously Miss does nothing. Tackle on this side, which will only do 10. And Spark on this side, which will only do 20. So you really want to land in this purple. So that is the only chance Voltorb has at really causing some damage. Aside from that, it also elevates what Pokemon comes out next from your Pokemon Center, which is also pretty convenient. You can get your good guys back quicker by sending Voltorb out and basically having him take out one of the opponents. So, really fun figure to have playing in the game, causes a lot of trouble. Next one we have back here is Weezing. Weezing. I remember this. This was actually a problem with the very first lot I ordered. So, what happened was, it was a lot of about 20 of the figures or so, might have been a little less than that, but one of them was a Weezing, and I was really bummed out because Weezing was broken, and I've since repaired him, obviously, but what happened was, this will happen a lot with TFG figures. If I'm going to make a video later showing how to repair the broken figures, but basically, just so I can show you, as these things twist and click off, and the figure will slide up like this. What will happen a lot during shipping is this little clear thing right here will actually snap inside of the spot where it goes in there, and then it'll be stuck. You can't get it out, because it'll basically make the base worthless because the plastic part's not attached to it. The actual figure itself is now stuck to this thing inside, and they can't spin. There are ways to fix it. I'm going to make a video showing how to actually do that. It's a little difficult, but you can do it, because it happened to my random Gollum too, and I was really bummed about that. So fortunately, there are good ways to fix it. So anyway, all that aside, Weezing is a really nice one too. He's got semi-clear plastic down here, and I say semi because you really got to put light behind it, or like put your finger behind it to really see anything through it. So that's kind of cool. He's using that nasty smog gas to lift himself up. Really well sculpted. I really like this Weezing figure. So, let's take a look at what he can do. 2 movement points. Really little miss portion right there. So let's take a look at that. And the purple region next to it, which is Poison Gas. The defending Pokemon is poisoned. Now that is pretty good for an generally uncommon figure. So that will be pretty devastating to someone. Poison basically just weakens their attacks, which means that this attack will probably be more effective if it hits afterwards, which is Sludge Bomb. If Weezing is knocked out by damage, all Pokemon 1 and 2 spaces away are poisoned. Oh my gosh, he's a bomb too. I didn't realize that. I've never actually played with the Weezing. So that is pretty crazy. This guy, unless he hits miss, someone's getting poisoned. Unless he actually takes you out, in which case, bummer for you. So that is pretty crazy. Weezing's kind of there just to walk around and poison everybody. And last but not least, we have this Zangoose, who's actually spinning a little weird. Kind of don't want to do that too much in case he will snap off like I was just telling you. But anyway, Zangoose is in a pretty cool pose. He was one of the first figures I got in the set in one of those opening lots. He's pretty sweet, kind of like his pose. He's okay. I mean, there's not too much in it. He's just kind of like, look at my hand. But anyway, Zangoose is a really cool Pokemon, so not really going to complain about anything there. Kyoto, they've done such a great job. I'm putting it on like super high standards compared to the others, if you can't already tell. So let's take a look at what he can do. He has 2 movement points, as we can see right there. His dodge region is pretty large. Next over, we have a Swords Dance. Spin until you get a result other than Swords Dance. If that result does damage, double it. So the same as Scythers. Scratch here will do 20 damage unless powered up by a Swords Dance, which will do 40. And then Crush Claw will do a very powerful 90, or even a doubled 180. So that'll be really crazy if you can land on Crush Claw after a Swords Dance. That would probably be one of the most powerful attacks in the game. I don't see many things get over like 130. His immunity in here, which is Poke Power, says Zangoose cannot be poisoned or noxious, so that'll be pretty handy if you were actually going to fight with a Zangoose next to a Weezing. So it's kind of funny that they're actually next to each other back there, because that Zangoose would be immune to all of the poisonous explosions going on by that Weezing. So that is the uncommon set from Next Quest. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you check out the other Pokemon TFG videos, and I will see you guys next time.